What's the fastest you've ever seen someone go from rich to broke, and what caused it? My dad's millionaire teetotal uncle. Retired, moved to Spain and went off the radar. Dad and his brother flew out to find him. He'd tried drinking and realized he liked it, and as he wasn't running a business anymore, had little else to do. So he drank and partied it all away. I was young, so I'm guessing there was more to it, but this was in the 80s and he was a multimillionaire. I last saw him at my nan's, his sister, funeral. This once immaculately dressed smart man, shaking in a suit now 3 sizes too big for him with uncut nails and stinking of wine and absolutely potless living with his son. I don't know where he ended up, to be honest. My father, he's had a drinking problem the past few years that has only gotten worse. Well, he spent the last year and hundreds of thousands trying to renovate a massive house to run an adult care home. He finally got it up and running, got all the permits and licensing. He had 2 patients residents out of a potential 8 making $22,000 a month. One week, he was drinking all day, every day. He lashed out at a caregiver he hired to help out, and the police were called. They arrived to him clearly intoxicated trying to run this adult care home, and he ended up having to shut down and sell the house at a loss. Really good friend of mine, his brother, was a homeless drug-addled mess before. Won $500K 6 months later, it was all gone with the exception of a couple of cars that he bought that he can't drive because he doesn't have a license. The guy literally took his homeless buddies out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 6 months. Gone. Sad, but also somewhat wholesome. He spent it on the people he knew had it bad. Like, you wished he had taken the opportunity to get his life fixed. But if you are going to get broke again, then this is probably the most wholesome way to do it. The dumbest person I have ever known was very rich. Family money. He had a trust fund and was given like $50K per month, and it was set up to last him the rest of his life. He convinced his mom to allow him to have it all. He lost every single penny in a week-long bender in Vegas. It was like $8 million. His parents cut him off. Last I heard, he was a homeless junkie. Had a family friend who was a very leveraged landlord in the 2000s. You can guess where this story was going. The guy inherited a number of residential properties. He took out loans against them to buy more properties. As the values rose, he took out more loans to purchase more properties. He multiplied the size of his inherited holdings over the years. I have no idea what his net worth was at his peak. Maybe somewhere between $25 and $50 million. Borrowing against housing to purchase more housing was very profitable for a while. Then, in 2007, the housing market imploded. Pretty soon, he couldn't collect enough in rent to make mortgage payments. The next few years saw a series of desperate refinancing deals, lost sales, and defaults. By 2012, he was bankrupt. At his absolute lowest, his car was towed. Leverage is a scary thing. If he'd been wiser with his inheritance, he could have been a happy petty landlord forever. My buddy's dad sold his construction company for a few million in the late 2000s. Within 18 months, it was all gone. He got into day trading with zero experience, doubled down on penny stocks, ignored every warning, and then borrowed against the house to chase losses. Ended up divorced, driving a beater, and sleeping on his brother's couch. The speed was unreal. One minute he's buying a boat, the next he's asking if I know anyone hiring for warehouse work. Myself had some professional success and a large surprise inheritance. Due to woeful impulse control and raging alcoholism, I absolutely lost it all. Bit reluctant to mention myself, however, I've never witnessed anyone else more idiotic than I with money. I come from a poor background. My uncle won $160K on a lottery ticket. He spent it in 6 months on drugs, prostitutes, and other stupid things. If he had invested it, would have made millions. He died from a stroke at 45. What a shit life. My mom is terrible with money. She's about to turn 70 and still lives paycheck to paycheck. The more money she makes, the more broke she is. About a year ago, she got a job that paid the most she's ever been paid. She had all these plans, but none of those plans work out because she spends all her money on online shopping. A few years ago, after my stepdad died, I bought her house from her, which is my childhood home. The deal was she would sell me the house for basically half its value and she could live with me. The home was valued at $350K. I paid her $170K. She spent all that money in less than 1 year. She bought a new car, bought my brother a new car, and the rest she spent shopping. She was retired for maybe 6 months. My house has 3 small bedrooms and the master bedroom. She has one of the bedrooms full wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling with stuff she buys. I gave her ultimatum after ultimatum about hoarding, but it doesn't work. At this point, I'm tempted to sell and move since I can't evict her. Maybe you can direct her crazy spending into getting her involved in a romance scam. You know, Brad Pitt sends her a love letter and he needs her financial help, but in this case, you are Brad. Once she's hooked and sending all her money to Brad, she can't keep buying useless stuff to hoard. And you can save up the money she sent to Brad to use for her elder care when she's really feeble. I have been reading the scams subreddit, and it's astonishing how many 70-year-olds are sending every dime they have to keep up the thrill of a romance. If she's too sharp to fall for a celebrity, use a more reasonable cover, like some elegant gentleman who lives in London. A family friend's mother died, and he had the choice to take the money she left or her house. He took the money and his brother got the house. He then blew all the money on over 20 cars. He lived in a small cul-de-sac, so he filled the whole area with cars, upsetting all the neighbors. He is now broke again and has even asked for money from us multiple times, which we refused. While his brother got planning permission and then sold the house for big money. He tried demanding money from his brother too, claiming he was conned out of the rights to the house, but he told him to stuff it. My best friend, he helped a stranger transfer money in which apparently dirty money, and he got swatted due to being a mule. His account got disabled, frozen for like 3 months prior to the swatting. He's not sentenced to prison, but to get the account back had to have him being in a status in the dirty money business. He got a few lawyers to grab the account back, and apparently no matter how he had to be dirty to start the process, if he's clean, he basically couldn't. There's no winning, LOL. He had to sell his house, cars, assets. Bro went from daily door dashing to cooking ramen noodles himself daily. Borrowing about $5,000 to buy a bunch of stocks with supposedly some insider information. They went broke within a matter of a few hours once the money was in motion. Every once in a while, I hear about them, and it's been more than 20 years since it happened. They are not doing very well at all. Someone my mom was friends with. He built a company from the ground up, got the big house and trophy wife who was an ex-model. She was a very generous woman due to coming from low digs herself. Had married a rich guy previously too. She would spend money. Lots and lots of money to make sure they had a nice life and nice things for the kids and them, but also spend thousands for impoverished kids to have toys, etc. each year. He was also a big spender, mostly for himself, but as it turned out also on his mistress. Bought her a flash car, etc. Ended up they were all spending faster than he could earn it, and he was millions of pounds in debt. Finally, it all came crashing down when she found out and wanted a divorce, and he ended up in a tiny house with nothing. Still, he had a house. Main thing. But he didn't learn anything. Still somehow was taking loans out and coming up with new business ideas all the time. She was left with nothing and 2 kids to bring up. He was still spending money he didn't have on his newest woman, while not making child support payments. This was all a long time ago. No idea if he turned it all around. But she managed to marry another wealthy guy and I think is doing okay for herself again. I see a lot of people who talk about people getting windfalls. It's interesting because the way I look at it in the position I'm in now, I feel like $50K, $100K wouldn't be life-changing money for me, so I'd probably just blow it on some fun stuff and continue working as normal. My friend's family, her dad was a real estate agent, I think still is, but he sold like fancy places the whole time. They had a massive 2-story house, pool, acreage they didn't use. She and her mom had horses, did dressage, the typical upper-middle class, almost upper-class stuff. Her mom, though, was a bitch. She was so freaking awful that one day her husband just told my friend, his daughter, I can't do this anymore. And he walked out the door. Fucked up for sure, but once we saw what she was like, we understood why he did it. He didn't abandon them, firstly. He paid for everything still. His ex-wife went batshit crazy. She turned his things while under orders from attorneys to not throw anything out until assets were divided. She filmed herself smashing his dead father's guitar, the only item he had from his father, with her psycho friends cheering her on. She manipulated their daughter to believing he was an evil piece of shit who did all the wrong. He literally, meanwhile, was sending her tens of thousands a month to keep his ex-wife and his daughter's lifestyle. She pretended AHE didn't gird it or it was a pittance. Moved into a tiny place above someone's garage and role-played poor. Here's the real coup de grace, though. My friend got offered a free ride to a very nice college. Her mom convinced her it was beneath her. Instead, she told her to go to a cream-of-the-crop college. Instead, the best only offered like $8K off tuition. Daughter believed this to be right because mom was such a good person. So that's the short version of how my friend went from wanting nothing to losing her horse, her house, her way of life, and then got saddled with $100K in college loans because mom didn't realize dad wasn't obligated to pay for college. And when she demanded he pay for it, his attorney reminded her she was living in a hovel while they have receipts of her having been sent won hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of 4 or 5 years. That this money was not just for ex-wife but for daughter also. I don't often talk to said friend anymore. She bartends in LA and basically has a degree that isn't super useful in a good economy, let alone this fucked one. And her debt is scary. Watching her foe from the rich, has-it-all friend to barely scraping by was truly insane.
Those were today's stories. Hopefully they gave you something to think about. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.